What is good, everybody? I have a couple announcements before we get into this video, actually. The first is going to be, if you haven't seen any of the previous links I've put up, I do have a community Discord. We would love to have you join. We're trying to organize it and flesh it out. We would love to have you. Completely free space to talk about the things that we talk about in the videos. It's a very welcoming space. Definitely don't go in there and feel like anyone's going to feel offended by what you say. Matter of fact, if we have any kind of those people,
we're going to fling them out with some of our rhetoric, I would imagine.
The second thing I wanted to say was I recently quit my job. So in order to help get support before I get monetized to YouTube, I created a locals page. And so to make this worth it to you guys, the viewers, I'm going to start dual posting content. I will be posting videos to locals only. So when you see a video going up on YouTube, just know that there's probably another video that's not on YouTube that's only on locals. And if you want to support me, I just have the 1 tier set up. It's just $5 a month. It would help me out greatly. But in short, your support means a lot to me, and it is almost absolutely necessary for me to continue doing what I'm doing and keep putting the amount of time I'm putting into doing what I'm doing. Specifically with taking entire days to go do street interviews, etc., etc. It's hard to work a real meaningful job around doing all of this stuff. So I appreciate that greatly. And without further ado, let's present the story. Now, when I read this tweet from Amuse, I kind of thought it was joking. Like, there's like no possible way. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you read about and or your dad tells you about, and you're like, Dad, there's never going to be a time where like I'm going to get attacked for handing out a Bible. Let me read this for you. Arizona drops charges against former ASU student arrested for handing out copies for the U.S. Constitution on campus. Another Soros-funded DA giving another hardened criminal a pass. Nope, just brain-dead idiots who had not had time to review the handout. Now, the post-millennials who wrote on this article here. Arizona drops charges against former Arizona State University student arrested for handing out copies of U.S. Constitution on campus. The subtitle here reads, "Now we expect ASU to update its policies to fully protect the rights of all students to speak on campus." Now, if we go down here, the article. On Monday, the Liberty Justice Center announced that all charges had been dropped against now former ASU student Tim Tizone, who was arrested and charged with trespassing after handing out copies of the Constitution on campus in March 2022. Well, the first thing that doesn't make sense is it says now former. But if he was a student on campus, I don't know how you can charge him with trespassing. That makes blatantly no sense. Anyways, moving on. Tim Tizone had been distributing the document to his fellow students while representing ASU's Young Americans for Liberty student organization when he was apprehended for allegedly not complying with the university's policy on free speech, which mandated that such activities were reserved for certain areas of campus. He was convicted and ordered by the University Lakes Justice Court to pay and fine and perform community service. Talk about just quite literally an overreach. According to the Liberty Justice Center, Tizone appealed to the Maricopa County Circuit Court with pro bono representation from lawyers at the LJC and won, with the court opting not to try and defend the obvious violation of Tizone's First Amendment rights. I mean, clearly. You know, a similar instance like this happened in my hometown. They tried making these people buy licenses to stand on the sidewalk to protest. How does that not infringe upon the First Amendment right? It's sick. It's sickening, man. People just like let it fly because we're all cowards. LJC President Jacob Hubert celebrated the victory, saying, "What could be more obviously constitutional than handing out copies of the Constitution?" That's facts. I mean, honestly, we're pleased the state has finally recognized the force of our arguments, he added. But now we expect ASU to update its policies to fully protect the rights of all students to speak on campus. Director of Students' Rights at the Young Americans for Liberty, J.P. Kirby, he accused the university of using its freedom of speech and assembly restrictions to harass activists such as Tim for years, suggesting that the university officials showed how much more the school values its own bureaucratic processes than the freedom of its students. Right? I mean, just imagine that you get a trespassing charge. For the university, you're paying thousands of dollars to go to. I should be able to use the bathroom in the professor's lounge. If I'm paying $55,000 and up, that's like on the lower end for state universities. I can't imagine if it's like some of these private universities. Like, my gosh, like And then like it's the thing he's doing is handing out the Constitution. Like I could even understand it if it was something as like as like maybe if it was like the graphic content of some of what these like anti-abortion activists do, which is like I really don't like that either, which is just showing a bunch of like the graphic material that comes with that. But he's handing out a Constitution on campus he pays money to go to. Can you imagine the amount of people that this had to have went like up to or up the ladder and they still was like, yep, we're going to continue to prosecute him. Yep, we're going to continue to let the authorities know what's going on. Yep, we're going to continue to involve the police. Yep, you're not a student here anymore. Yep, see ya, goodbye. It's like, well, anyone else looking in from this situation from the outside is going to go, you must hate free speech. Like what? Anyways, I mean, it's this is a white pill. It's a white pill that he got reinstated. I'm glad that he had the right lawyer helping him. And let me give a shout out here too. If you don't follow Muse on Twitter, they actually do a lot of good reporting on stories like this. They often use like the post millennial and sources like that I find to be much more reliable than the rest of the mainstream trash. But thank you for tuning in. This will be a really short one. Peace.